Yes, episode 2 with Alessa from API The Label.
Hi.
Appreciate you coming by for what we're trying to build as a platform for creators to learn about our story. If you're looking to build, whether it's a clothing brand or any business in general, I think that you, first and foremost, has a lot to share, as well as myself. So just looking to share that story with you, and hopefully someone's inspired by this. So.
Hopefully.
So that's my goal, and obviously you and I have been friends for a little bit from Long Island. Both have brands that are on the up, and there's a lot that I think you and I could share. I'm sure there's a lot that you've learned. So I really want to know why you started your brand, and how things are going, and the floor is yours.
Awesome. Well, thank you for having me.
Of course.
My brand really started as a creative outlet when I was in college. We always called it like the cheapest form of therapy because I really just wanted to do something with my creativity, and
Right.
I wasn't loving college. So it was really just a passion thing
Mhm.
at first. I didn't even have an Instagram for it. I wasn't selling the items. And people would start to ask me, like, can I buy this? Can I buy this? Whatever.
Mhm.
Made an Instagram, this, that, and the other thing. My initial investment was a $600 investment, and I bought
Got it.
paints, jackets, all paintbrushes, all the
Mhm.
supply stencils, everything.
that.
And I would sit
Love
there
that.
for hours and days and
Mhm.
weeks and just paint on denim jackets.
So denim jackets was the first piece.
That was
you
the
made.
very first
Okay.
thing, yeah. And it was still just like a fun thing I was doing, like making a little extra money on the side.
Mhm.
And then I had my very first influencer reach out to me and said, like, I would love you to send me
Who
something.
was that?
blah, blah,
Who was
blah.
the first influencer?
Her name's Ava
Mhm.
Tortorici, something like that. Ava,
Okay.
so sorry.
Okay, nah, it's all good.
I hope
It's
you're
all
not
good.
watching.
It's all good.
We're still like in touch to this
Mhm.
day. She was like day one, very first
Right.
person ever reached out to me, and I got like a bunch of like at that time it was like
Right.
50 followers. Was like, oh my god, what's happening?
Right.
People started reaching out, whatever, this, that, and the other thing, and at that point I was just like, all right, I'll like continue this while I'm in college, and before I knew it, within a year, it just happened so quickly. Like I couldn't keep up with hand painting,
Really?
so I needed a new
Wow.
way to produce the clothes, and then it was like that wasn't end goal, so like I really had to like find another way to do
Mhm.
things, and now I just manufactured my first piece overseas, so like hopefully things work out with that.
Wow.
But yeah, it really all started in my little 2x4 dorm room in stupid old Binghamton University, and
That's
here we are.
great. I mean, I could kind of speak to that, and starting in my basement too, screen printing on shirts. I had an idea to basically package drip in a kit, Dripkit, hence the name, and then really just figured out that's really not going to be profitable. So I kept the name, and like you said, kept that creative itch to start making hats and start making T-shirts and start making hoodies. And I guess right after COVID was when I really wanted to hone in on scaling it, and that's the toughest part, and that's the part that I want to speak to you about, because today what I'm noticing is everybody wants to start a brand. Everybody wants to have something that they could post and their friends and family buys, but to get to that next level is very hard, very challenging, and a lot of people seem to fall off, whether it's 6 months or 8 months or 12 months down the line. So could you speak on a little bit about what you did to keep positive, and just be like, this is what I want to do, and I'm going to get to where I need to go no matter what?
100%. So don't get me wrong, I've literally had my way too many moments where I'm ripping my hair out of my head, like hysterical crying, I'm giving up, I can't do this, screaming at my mom, like, this is it, I'm done. But every single one of those things, like I have my moment and then I pick myself back up somehow because I know the dream. Like I have the passion at heart, and I never thought that I had this kind of drive in me. I was kind of like a giver-upper, you know. I never like worked hard in school. I didn't do my best in sports. Like I never really had a thing until I started this, and I never put my all into something this way. So I have things that go wrong every day. It's a great day when something doesn't go wrong. So don't think that like things don't, like I'm sure you know every single day things are going wrong, but it's a part of the process. And at first I was like, I'm not built for this. I can't, like I'm not made for this. But the more it happened, the more I was like, I'm not going anywhere. Like I'm still here. I'm not like, and I'm not giving up on these things. So there really is no secret answer. Everyone's always like, oh, what's the key? There is none. It's like, you need to believe in yourself, work your freaking ass off, and like keep at it. there have been months when things are not the way I want them to be, and when I'm like, can I sustain this?
Right.
But you got to keep through those and like come up, like figure out what's wrong and like why it's wrong and how to fix it, and it's like ever changing. But I'm sure, like you, I didn't go to school for any of this.
No, neither did I.
Yeah,
Neither
so
did
it's
I.
like a learning every day. You're learning as you go. A lot of time at your own expense, unfortunately, but
Yeah.
that is what it is.
But for me, I mean, that's really like the beauty of this whole process, right? Like the failing and doing things that don't work, and then realizing that you don't want to give up and you want to just figure out how to make things better is why I'm still involved in this today. Like overcoming these issues and problems and learning curves. Because like you said, I didn't go to school for clothes. I had no idea. And really the reason why I got it to where it is today is just building relationships with people that are in the business, whether it's a screen printer or an embroidery guy or somebody overseas that really wants to invest in my idea. And I think right now what I've done today is align a great team of people that not only believe in myself, but the actual plan. And I just really like what you said about, overcoming failure. Like I don't see myself failing, and I see myself succeeding no matter what happens. And the point that I'm at today is obviously not where I need to be. So I'm excited to get it to, or do whatever I need to do to get to my ultimate goal. So I guess my next question for you is, where do you see your brand at the end of the day?
That's a good one, and I have the same question for you after. But goals are forever changing.
Yeah.
I somehow, because I never thought I would have gotten to this point, that
Got it.
I had surpassed every goal that I had. I had a laundry list of goals, and every single one of them I hit.
Speak on some of your goals. I don't mean to get off of the main track, but that kind of feeds into it.
Yeah, of course. They were smaller goals, because at the time I was literally hand painting on denim jackets.
Yeah.
My goal, a huge goal of mine was, I'll give you 2 examples.
Sure.
Charlie Jordan is an influencer who I love. I've loved her forever, and it was I need Charlie Jordan in my clothes. It's a must. Need her in my stuff. Another huge goal was to get into at least 3 stores by end of 22, and successfully did that. So it was just stuff kept happening, and I even when it was smaller things, certain connections, push yourself to make X amount of connections by the end of this quarter or whatever, and I would surpass those goals. And I didn't really have long-term goals because I didn't think that this was going to be my career.
Got it.
But now where I'm at is reworking all my goals, and currently the biggest goal is lowering costs, which will allow me to sell to big stores. I want to be in Revolve, Farfetch, Essence, the Webster, you name it, I want to be in it.
Yep.
So that's a huge goal. Whereas a year ago, I was I don't want to be in stores, but it's a part of the business plan, and it's something that,
Yeah.
needs to, that's definitely a big direction I'm heading in.
And I think that's important for someone like us to have these goals, because the first 16 months or even 2 years that I started the Dripkit, I was just throwing stuff at the walls and see what was sticking. And honestly, looking back on it, it wasn't much. It wasn't until I created the Good Girls Are Cuffed slogan, I guess you could say, or the hat. And what that did for me was just allow people to kind of be oh, this is cool. This is dope. I don't know who Eric is. I don't know who the Dripkit is. I don't know him from Atlantic Beach, New York City. This is just a cool hat. And that process for me over the past 2 years really made me think okay, this is for me. There's people in Kentucky, there's people in California, there's people in every state in this country that are wearing this slogan, this hat. They don't know who I am. So until I give this up, which I don't plan on doing, that's going to be what drives me. And I don't really have any short-term goals anymore. I just want to be the biggest in the world.
I love that.
And I don't think that really hit me until probably this year. And I'm just so confident in the fact that I could do that with the things that I've done so far, and the future is just super exciting for me. So I always like to ask where do you see it? Where do you want to go? Why did you start this?
No, 100%.
And it's just so nice to level with people that I don't know and just have conversations about, why'd you do this? How'd you do this? They're following me, we're doing conversations. It's really surreal to see.
No, it is so crazy.
And like I said, I used to deliver 2-3 orders a month to my family, and
that's how it all starts.
That's how it starts. I agree. It's an absolutely insane feeling, and I want to keep fulfilling that. And I wanted to touch on the influencer world, because I think that's super important. I see that you have a lot of people wearing it, that obviously move the needle when they post. So just talk about like your process of who you look to put into your brand, building that relationship and what you can expect from, I guess, social media today.
100%. So it's been so interesting because I guess like I kind of started when like COVID really hit and influencer, like the TikTok space became very big, and so it was like prime time. And I definitely I had to learn the hard way. Like I've had my fair share of people that numbers don't matter. It's like numbers are shit. It's all about engagement, audience, like, and it's always a gamble too, because there will be people that you think have your exact audience, great engagement, like exactly what you need, and you don't know that you're wrong until you try, or you don't know that you're right until you try. Like you just have to try. So like you said before, like you got to throw enough shit at the wall and something has to stick. Yeah, something has to.
Right.
And that's my mentality with the influencers, that it's like I've sent to a ton of people that have done nothing for me, but overall the return has been so great because there are those people that hit home with. And like it's also interesting because like we're streetwear, so what influencers work in our industry don't work in other industries, and it's like so subjective to the specific 100%. Situation. But I didn't realize how much I love making the relationships with these individuals, even with their management teams. Like 100%. People remember you. Like when you do something nice and when you go out of your way and you make a connection with someone, you're not just like another straw in the pile. You like people
100%.
Like take it to heart and like they appreciate things, and they were like, it's like, so amazing to see that, and like the connections and relationships made from that, especially with influencers. It's like you think a lot of times like they have a million people reaching out to them and like they don't really care at all, but like a lot of them do, and it's awesome. But finding the right ones is difficult. It's always trial and error.
Yeah, no, and that process to me, that influencer marketing space is, I think it's super neat. And like you said, just finding the right person that you could not only give merchandise to per post, but now you have a relationship with XYZ, someone with 1 million followers that doesn't just wear your hat now, but now maybe they want to be, I don't know, maybe they want to be friends. Like an example for me, I have people with millions of followers on TikTok that I would have never expected to not only connect with, but now we're out together.
No, 100%.
Like now we're in Miami, like he's my friend. And
100%.
it's through this hat or this hoodie or whatever it was that he felt the need to reach out. And that's my sweet spot. Like I love the opportunity to reach out to new people, whether it's an influencer, an athlete, a singer, like anybody that could put my brand in positive light. I want to work with you.
100%.
Like I want you to be involved in what I'm building. And when that kind of hits and you find like a match like that, it's great. And the first time I ever did that, that was like the lightning rod for me. That was like, this is so cool.
No, it's literally you're high on life when those sort of things happen, because it's just like, where else can you get this?
Right.
It's
the
especially when it's yours. You created this, and now you're putting it out there, and like things are happening because of that.
Who's next on your influencer list? Who do you want to get?
Billie Eilish.
Really?
Billie needs to perform in
the hat. A hoodie? What do you want to put in?
Full set, custom set, Billie Eilish.
Yeah?
Yeah, that's the goal. What about you?
So funny. So speaking about like ups and downs of the brand, my favorite athlete person probably like in history is Odell Beckham.
Okay.
And I got to a point where I was able to get a hold of him, his address, like had a conversation back and forth, sent him like 12 hats, which is a lot. And I was like, this is it. Like,
that was your first mistake, is the 12.
Obviously there was a mistake. I had to figure out what it was. But I was like, this is it. Like, the hats are sent. There's a handwritten note. Like, he remembers me from back in the day. Like, this is going to be amazing. And, weeks went by, months went by, and just radio silence. And it sucked for me at first. I was like, I was questioning myself. I was like, why didn't he wear it? Like, every single Instagram post he puts up, he's wearing another hat. Like, he's wearing Fear of God. He's wearing all these different brands. And I was like, what do I do next? And that's like another thing. Failure is just not an option for me.
100%.
So you just move on to the next person. Obviously, he's the top of my list, but there's still plenty of fish in the sea that
and it doesn't mean you can't try again down the road.
I know.
I'm so glad you just said that, because I've had way too many of those. Like,
no, me too.
I've had
me too.
Big, like, I've sent to Billie Eilish, and it was like, this is it, and it happens. But like, the biggest thing in those situations is like not putting all those eggs in one basket, and like keeping on. Like when you send,
Mhm.
awesome, amazing, pat on the back, but just like on
just
with
keep
your
going.
day. Yeah. Because even when I've had big like Nessa or Bryce moments, like my biggest mistake when like I had my first like blow up moment was to like ride the wave of success. It was like no. There's no time to celebrate. Like you have to like keep, like there's no time for a break here. Like
I love that.
you know, it's like you just have to like keep on with the momentum.
Mm-hmm.
So
And how are you getting to Nessa and Bryce and Silvana, like all these people? Like the list could go on, but
Silvana specifically was through DM. Like she
Right.
just like followed me, and like once somebody follows you, like now my DM will go to the top of her thing. Like that
Right.
one was just like I got so lucky.
that was a layup.
Yeah, no, that was like sick. But like Nessa, Bryce, all these people, I literally reach out to, like I find their management teams. I have spreadsheets on spreadsheets. And
Right.
stalk their lives, and then I just like reach out. My friends all make fun of me because these are
Yeah.
the people that I like keep up with. But I'm like I have to, like it's
It's true.
business.
It's true.
But it's not easy. It's not like the contact information is just sitting there. I mean, sometimes it is, but rarely. It's usually like a deep dive.
I'm like kind of embarrassed to show what my DMs look like.
Oh,
it's
please.
like it's nobody. Like
Please.
it's just famous people.
No,
with blue
it's
checks
gross.
that wear trucker hats. But that's the way it's gonna go. Like there's no way that they're gonna reach out to me. Like why would I expect them to just be like,
100%.
wow, this hat's cool. Like how would they say that? But along the process, you realize that they're literally just normal people.
Right.
Like they have X amount of Instagram followers. They're still normal people that do the same thing as you and I every day.
100%.
And just humanizing the process is what I like to do.
Yeah, definitely.
Not obviously being a sports fan, I always kind of gear towards sports, whether the season's basketball, football, whatever. Getting those people to where the brand is always cool. I'm not sure if you have any, like your in the athletic space. What do you
Not
usually
really.
go for?
I'm really
No?
like if I had to pick a team, it would be baseball. But
So you're not trying to get into the Yankees on the
I mean,
wave.
Listen, if a Yankee is trying to wear one of my things, like I'd be glad.
You'd be glad to send it
I'd
to
be
him.
glad, but I wouldn't say it's my target.
Right. So the question that I have for you is kind of just like the process you go about to that creative process, right? So like walk me through what you're gonna design, what colorways you're gonna go for, and how do you bring something from basically nothing, which is the creative process, right, to what you're wearing today? Like what does that look like?
Well, it's a lot of messiness.
Mhm.
I don't have this like rigid step by step. I mean, I have an outline of what I do,
Right.
but it's always messy. It's always
Sure.
messy. And it never goes as planned. But that's art, I guess.
It's true. It's true.
But what I usually do is I'll make like digital mock-ups on Adobe, so like Photoshop, Illustrator, Procreate on my iPad, all that stuff. And I got through a million different, like with the designs, the mock-ups, whatever, decide on
You're doing that
colors.
all yourself?
All myself, literally everything myself.
Yeah.
And that's also like my days are insane. I work like 12, 15 hours a day because I'm doing everything.
Right.
Now I could be outsourcing my work, and I have begun to outsource certain things because I literally just like, couldn't keep
Right.
up with it. But the goal is to like outsource outsource all production so I could focus on actually scaling big time. But right now it just keeps my costs nice and low, and I produce everything myself. It's like amazing. But can't stay like that forever if I want to grow the way I do. So like that's what I'm in the middle of figuring out now.
Got it.
But after I design, I usually send, well, it depends what I'm going to do. It's like now what I've been doing is I'll send to a manufacturer.
Yep.
They'll ask me a bunch of questions. We'll go through the specs. Like I don't even make tech packs.
Really?
Some of them don't even.
Some of them you don't need, some of them you
No.
do, depending on how.
It's
I
very
guess,
see, like that's something I
detailed.
never learned. I never
Right.
I don't know what a tech pack is until I started this, and like like just all those little things that people don't think
I know.
about ever,
I know.
including myself. Things I never thought I would have had to learn. That it's like, oh my god, what is this? But then I go through the sample process. I always get a sample first.
No.
You don't?
No, I do. I'm saying, oh no, as in it could go very well or
Oh,
it could
yeah.
be very bad.
Well, that was the biggest mistake I ever made, was going into full production once without getting a sample.
Yeah.
Like I had never done production
Right.
before, and I just like full batch, 60 of something. It was the
Right.
first time I ever did it. Like even though 60 is a small amount, everything was wrong. Just
Really?
not. So obviously you learn from your mistakes, and I knew from then on to always get samples. Yeah.
You guys hear that? Samples.
Samples are everything. And then you build it into your cost. But that's another huge important thing that I really wish I learned sooner on in the process, was getting my costs down pat. You know,
Cost?
because like costs are so important. Like knowing your cost, everything, like direct costs and indirect costs. So like to make your product, packaging, everything else, and then like ads and all that outside stuff.
It's crazy.
It's hard.
It's
like,
crazy.
Yeah, it's really like not an easy thing to figure out, but it's so important because then it's like, how do you price your product if you don't know your actual costs? Like you'll run yourself out of business.
It's so true, and I guess having that one man show mentality, which I have, and I know that you're doing this yourself too. There's so many facets of this that go into making a hoodie or a sweatshirt or a hat. So I like commend you for doing this because I understand how hard it is.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's actually somewhat easy to make 1 or 2 or 12 hats. But to get to that next level of like you said, understanding what's going into the cost of this, like what do I sell this for? How much is my time valued into this piece of manual or whatever it is? And how can I turn around and sell this to someone and then make them happy?
100%.
And how can I do that 1,000 times over?
And how can I do it quick enough to keep people interested?
Right, and that's another thing
it's
too.
Like
everybody has a clothing brand now. It's like you go on TikTok, and I guess TikTok just feeding me this stuff. It's like another brand, and like on one hand I'm like, wow, like there's a lot of competition here, like this is crazy, I gotta like step my shit up. But on the other hand I'm like, wow, like mine's dope too. Like like mine, I could do the same thing that you could do.
That's
sometimes even better.
That is a huge thing I've been dealing with personally lately, is like trying not to compare.
Yeah.
Because I see so many people out there that I follow, that I admire, who are growing at a quicker rate than me, that are doing things that it's like, but I'm doing that, and like I want to get as many like views and likes as you do, but like you can't. That's like one of the biggest things they always say, is you can't compare your journey to other people's, and everyone has their own, like comparison will kill you.
I agree.
So true.
I agree, and TikTok, like that kind of brings me into the next point that I want to talk about. I mean, just in life in general, not even just in business or clothing, everybody's comparing themselves to each other, and a lot of times that could lead to negative side effects, which is part of the reason why I wanted to bring in an extremely positive mental health organization for my next drop that's going to be happening on Friday. And I wanted to get your thoughts on the project. Obviously, donating to a mental health organization within New York is important to me, and being able to intertwine fashion and obviously philanthropy is super cool, and especially have that notoriety with the brand that we're not only giving out some dope hats, but you're doing, 2 things at once. So I wanted to know kind of what your thought process on that was.
I love that so much. What organization are you?
So it's NAMI. It's the National Alliance for Mental Illness.
Wow.
Yeah, and they're a worldwide. They're all over. They're a huge organization, but obviously being focused in New York, we're just working on the metro area, and they just do some really super work that I kind of felt I needed to get involved in for the month of May. Obviously, it's teetering around June now.
For effort.
Yeah. And it's, like I said, it's not just fashion, right? Like, there's so many people that just have a clothing brand, and they have hats, and they have sweatshirts, but, like, what are you really buying into? And that's the question that I asked myself a year ago. Like, everybody's starting to get the proof of the pudding. Like, they know where to get their hats. They know where to manufacture sweatshirts. Like, everyone's catching up to each other. Right. So what can I do to obviously stand out?
Right.
And charity is something that I've always liked. I've always, found interest in it. And I just thought that this would be a great opportunity to intertwine those 2 things and sell some cool merchandise. So the collection will be out on Friday.
Nice. I love it. I seriously think it's so awesome, especially like, it's hard. You got to push your shit, and like when you're willing to give a percentage to a better cause, like I think it's always, especially when you're like all by yourself, like I always think that that's awesome. Like I love when I see people doing that, because it's a lot more difficult than like a huge corporation to give a big donation. You know what I mean? It's just, and it's more thoughtful. Not that other donations aren't thoughtful.
No,
I
know what you mean. It's cool to I guess give back in a way, but in reality, that's, if I'm going to build this platform and it's actually going to get to a point where I can make a difference, I obviously want to.
100%. Like, I love that, like, you're even thinking that way.
Right. I mean, and I don't do it just to say, like, oh, wow, I'm giving back. I just know that this is something that I'm super passionate about. And I don't want to make it seem like a instant, like, quick thing. Mm-hmm. Like, this is a long-term project. I want to be seen as not only as a fashion streetwear in New York City, but someone that they could feel good when they're wearing their brand. And just from what I've seen from your brand, I feel the same from your followers. And I guess the next question that we could kind of get into next is, I want to know your feeling and your thought process when you see hundreds of, if not thousands of people that you don't know wearing your stuff. Like, what does that feel like for you?
It is the most insane feeling in the world.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, and I know that the orders are coming in because I'm
You're
making
doing it.
them. Like,
Yeah.
I'm literally sitting there slaving doing it all. But seeing them on people is just like the best. Like, it's even 10 times better than getting the order. Like,
1,000%.
I love seeing people wear my clothes. Especially have you ever seen somebody in person or not yet?
Yeah.
Like, I literally wanted to blow my
Yeah,
eyes
I
out.
take
Why
pictures
am I
with them.
suddenly emotional?
I take pictures with them.
Stop. I don't have the balls to do that. Like, suddenly I get
Why
so
not?
nervous. Like, I don't know what my issue is.
Really?
Like, I don't want people to know that it's my brand all of a sudden.
Wow.
I
Oh,
know,
you better hope that you and I aren't together when that happens. We'll be like, that's her.
Stop. No, but it's seriously the best feeling because it's just like, not only are the people liking what they see and resonating with it, but like they're buying it and then they're wearing it too. Like, we have a lot of things in our closets that we don't wear.
Yeah.
Like, when somebody puts something on, like,
you like
it means something.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. Like, and I just love. Like, I don't even have the words for it, but that's my favorite feeling is seeing people wear my clothes.
Yeah, that's like the gratification point for me. It's like, all right, you want to see an ad on Instagram? Like, okay, that's fine. Like, 1 million people could do that. Like, you want to buy something in a store? That's fine. Like, you want to wear it? All right, that's fine. But if you want to post it on social media and show your followers, like, this is my best light, like, this is my best hat, this is my best shorts, like, I'm wearing it right now, and it's Dripkit or it's API, like, that gratification is like, that's one of the coolest
100%.
parts of the brand. And so would you say that that's your favorite thing that you get from the brand, like seeing people wearing it, or what's your favorite absolute, like, I love this moment?
Absolute favorite, I would have to say 2 things.
Okay.
My ability to express myself
I love that.
and the relationships I've made that I never thought would have came out of this. Like, just the most bizarre, incredible people that I have met through this. You know, like, some people that I actually consider some of my close friends now. Like, through an idea that started in my head.
It's so crazy.
Right? Like,
It's so crazy. It's so, like, to me, the way I think about it is like, what is going to happen next? Like, if I keep doing this, like, I'm not scared to say that it's taking too long. Like, I'm not scared to say, like, what if it doesn't work? That's not my thought process. My thought process is like, wow, who can I, like, interact with next? Who's going to be my next person that
and that's what
wears
has
the hat?
to be.
And that's how it has to go. I can't have that, like, moment of, like, doubt because, like I said, there's 1,000 brands
Right.
that are working and putting more money behind it, doing more things. Like, I can't let that happen.
No, 100%.
And that's like when I see people, like, obviously we're friends, so when I see people go off and pop off with your brand, I'm like, let's go. Like, that's motivating.
No, I love
I
it.
want that to
And
happen.
the support too is awesome because you hope that people would be like, that's another huge thing that I love, just like supporting other, whether it's clothes, jewelry, candles, college, this, that, or the other thing. Like, I love supporting other people, and like the support you receive back from it is just like, especially when you're doing a similar thing, like you get each other, you know. It's like,
that's another bond too, that you're able to be like, oh, like when I met you, I was like, oh, you got a brand? That's sick. Like, well, I'm sure we'll get along. So what about, I guess, your sales process? Obviously you have a Shopify store. You're online. I wanted to learn more about how you're getting stuff into stores and what type of retail stores you look to go into, and how does that, I guess, business transaction work to be in a store?
good question. Well, it's something I've really recently started doing, only in the past 6 months or so.
Okay.
But the ability to offer wholesale, which is why I say knowing your costs is so important, because it took me so long to finally be able to offer wholesale, because standard formula, in case you didn't know, is
you could give us a little formula right now.
cost times 2 equals wholesale. Wholesale times 2 equals retail.
Wow. You
So
got the whole thing ready.
that's just like the very basic formula of it. And that's why knowing your cost is so important, because if you ever want to like get into stores, if you price your product wrong, you could always decrease your price, but you really can't like suddenly double your price. You know, it just doesn't really work like that.
You can't.
Yeah, so that was a whole thing in itself, was really figuring out what my costs are and being able to price a product wholesale. Now you take a big cut per piece when you sell wholesale, but you're selling bulk. So the process of getting in stores is not fun.
It's not.
No, I don't like selling. So that's I don't like selling. I don't like doing pop-ups. I don't like, that's just not I don't like to sell to people. Like, I'll do it behind a screen. I love to make relationships, but I don't like to, like, when it's obvious that I'm trying to sell you something. Like, you're only going to a buyer for them to buy something. So that's a me problem. But anyway, really, but that's another thing, is like making relationships with buyers. Like, if you don't like, if a buyer doesn't like you, done.
You're done.
Yeah, buyers are usually like, they're not like, I mean, in tiny boutiques it's very different, but like once you get in, like start with bigger stores and whatever, it's not like a game. You usually get one shot and that's it. And that's why line sheets are so important, like knowing like you have to have like your wholesale cost versus your retail cost. And yeah, it's really, I don't like it. It's for some people, but I don't enjoy it. One day the goal is to have somebody do this part for me.
Like a sales team.
Yeah, like a whole, like, But for now, that's not the case. But I've actually had the biggest store that I'm in right now actually reached out to me.
I was going to ask, what store is that?
Denny's.
Nice.
So it's a start. Yes.
Where is it, Denny's?
Plainview. They have a bunch.
They have a bunch.
Yeah. But that so far is like the biggest store that I'm in. But the goal, again, is to...
What? So you're looking for Bloomingdale's, like something like that? Or what type of outlets are you looking to sell your stuff in?
Revolve, Essence, Farfetch.
Got it. So you want to have that like
crazy
streetwear, like resale value on your gear.
Yeah, 100%.
I like that.
100%.
I like that. Like, that's me too. Like, I guess it's my personality, and it comes out in different ways, and I'm learning this through this brand. Like, I'll go into Kith, and I'll get, like, not mad, but I'm like, wow, like, this stuff is so nice. Like, I want this so bad. Why am I going to spend X amount of dollars on this? Like, I want my stuff to be in the same ballpark as this. 100%. And that drives me to go. Obviously, like, I always like putting on nice stuff. Like, I'm obviously interested in fashion. But I guess a big goal for me is I want other people to value the Dripkit in the same light as whatever you would buy in Kith or a Bloomingdale's or a Saks Fifth Avenue. And I think there's a possibility to do that even with the way the e-commerce space is set up.
Oh yeah, there is.
I guess another topic of conversation is like the value of like a storefront. I almost feel like, I'm not sure your thoughts on it, but Shopify is my storefront. Like, Instagram is my 100%. Marketing tool. Like, TikTok is where I put my stuff on there.
Would you want a physical storefront?
I don't know. I just feel like maybe the time and effort and money that I would put into a physical store may or may not be worth it.
I completely agree.
At this point. Like, obviously, like, down the line, if there's a budget for a storefront in Soho, Manhattan, or in Brickell in Miami, or somewhere in Los Angeles, like, yeah, let's go. But right now, I'm really just focused on the digital audience. I feel like the power of TikTok and social media is, as pertinent as it is, I still think it's underrated. Like, I think people still downplay the fact of putting a video on TikTok and getting 1 million views.
100%.
Like, legitimately.
You really can, yeah. Even 100,000 views.
Right.
What it could do for, like, a small brand is actually mind-blowing. It's amazing.
And a buddy of mine said, like, be prepared for that to happen. Like, there's brands that hit on that video and go bankrupt or fail because they're not able to fulfill the repercussions of what they were doing.
Yep.
So, like, let's say I have that video that has 200,000 views, and now I have to sell 250 hats. I'm prepared to do that.
Right. That's another very important.
Right. So
aspect.
I guess the question that I would have for you is, making handcrafted pieces, what would that look like if it's like, oh wow, like, what
I have all
happens
backup
now?
in order. I have all, because I use my backup sometimes even now. Like, when orders are just like out of control, holiday season. I can't make everything myself. Like, I can't. Even working 16, 18 hours a day, like, I literally cannot do it all myself. That I have people do it for me. So I know I have like factories and I have people who I trust at this point. It took a long time to find the right people because I went through a lot of bad people.
Of course, that's a huge talking point.
That's
also.
it. Yeah, that's
It's a huge talking point too, and it's like, it's not luck. I would consider it luck. At first, I thought that it was like, oh, like these screen printers suck. Like they don't get back to me. They leave me on red. Like embroidery guys, they keep screwing me. Now I can't get orders out. And I was blaming it on them. But looking back on it, like that's my fault. Like I need to vet the process of like, do you actually want to work with me or do you want to just take my money and
Right.
run? And I think that was an important piece 2 years ago, putting a team together of streamlined manufacturers, streamlined printers, like everything that I need is going to be done when I need it done, right? Or else I'm screwed. Or else I got to deal with emails for returns, and now it's out of my pocket.
Yeah.
So I'm happy to hear that you have a process down pat. And what I would say to, I guess, people who are looking to start a brand, like the people in your corner are very important, and they'll be probably make or break for you. And I guess another talking point that I wanted to bring up is friends and family that were there from day one to support. And I want to know what that was like for you and how your friends kind of reacted to you wanting to start a brand.
My friends were all super supportive
Yeah.
about it. My friends were like great. Honestly, I remember being nervous. My friends were gonna be like, "Oh my god, what's she doing?" She really, but like, my friends were so
Right.
happy that they were just happy for me.
They're
My
happy.
family is, oh my god, my parents, financially, they haven't done anything for the business, but
Right.
like, they've allowed me to live in their house,
Right.
and they believe in me more than I believe in myself. Like
That's
they
so
just,
important.
it's so incredible. Both of them are like, even if you wanted to give up tomorrow, we wouldn't let
They
you.
wouldn't let you. No.
Yeah, no, that's
But
how
you're
much
not.
like,
You're not.
no,
You're not.
that's not even like, no. But they always say
Yeah.
like, you know, like, you're not, like, this isn't going anywhere. Like, we, like,
Mhm.
believe in you more than you believe in yourself. My parents are, I wouldn't be able to do this without them.
Really?
Just, like, from, like, a mental, like, you know, like, let's go standpoint.
No, I love to hear that because, like,
Yeah.
for me, I always lean on people close to me when it comes to, like, you like this design? Like, do you like this colorway? Should I do this? Because, I don't know, I get, like, this feeling of, like, if I put this out and it flops, I'm screwed. Like,
Well,
I
that's
hate
another huge thing. Yeah, I've had at least 40% of designs that just like don't go as
I know.
planned, and it happens. Like it happens. Not everyone like not every design hits. You know, and I feel like that happens with everybody. That's not like abnormal. Like, of course, it's not what you want, but it's
Right.
not like
It
against the. Like, there's always like those best sellers or those like ones that hit and go crazy, and you know, like that's just
mhm.
not ideal, but it's what happens.
It's like, it's a numbers game, too.
Yeah.
The way I see that though, when I put like a little bit of extra pressure on myself, and I'm working on relieving that stress, but like I don't want to put it to a point where it's like, all right, this drop flopped, nobody's interested in the drip kit anymore. Now what?
Right.
So that's why I kind of like work extra hard and figure out exactly what my audience is looking for in streetwear. And I think the summer collection that I just recently put together is going to really embody that. It's very cool, like with the times, kind of like Montauk, Miami vibes.
Nice.
And this project is something that I would have never been able to do a year ago.
Yeah.
Like these are cut and sew pieces, like every
Wow.
inch of it is designed by me, and it's just really cool to see that like before anything even sells. It's just cool to see like how different things have gone, and I see the same thing with your brand, and that's why I wanted to ask you like what else you have in store as far as merch.
Yeah. No, I definitely, I have so much that I want to do. So much.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even want to say it. Like,
You
there's
don't need
literally
to.
so
You don't
much,
need
like,
to.
that I'll tell you privately, but.
We'll speak off camera.
There's so much
Speak
good
up.
stuff that I want to do that it's just like, I want to learn the fabric industry now.
Mhm.
I need to, I feel like, before I can put more time, money, effort into production and
Mhm.
manufacturing. Like, do you feel that way, or like, do you like no?
Of course.
Okay.
Like I there's always so much to learn. There's always more that you could do that could put yourself ahead of the next guy. And like learning the fabrics, and like you said, like putting together tech packs is super important. And I recently learned that, like, because you don't want to get burned spending X amount of money on samples and wasting 2 weeks on production, and your tech pack is shit, and now you get sent this product that you wouldn't even wear.
Right.
And stuff like that is just like super important, and attention to detail. And I'll be straight up, I have zero attention to detail with anything that's not my clothing business. Like you could tell me something, and if it's not about sports or fashion, I'll just forget about it. But when it comes to this brand, I just feel like I put so much behind it. It's like
that's when you know you love
I need to understand this. Like it's also the beauty of it, beauty and the struggle is no one's really telling me stuff. Like I got the puppets here. Any decision that you see is obviously the same as you, right?
Yeah.
Like this is what you came up with, and now this is what everybody's gonna see. So it's either make or break.
Right.
How do you feel about that process, being your own boss and all the chips in one spot? It's tough, right?
It's tough. I mean, everyone's always like, oh, I'm so jealous. I wish I could work for myself. Like, it's not all that it's cracked up to be. Like, I love what I do. Don't get me wrong. This is my life. I wouldn't trade it for anything. But it's hard. Like, I haven't put blood, sweat, and tears into anything the way I have into this. Like, ever. I mean, but my family had always said, like, if I just lost my train of thought.
You lost your train of thought. Listen, this is my second time having a podcast. This is your first time, right?
Yes.
And it's like, this is a new craft that I also want to get into, podcasting. I think it's like a really great way to...
No, we're vibing. This is chill, except for the fact that I just lost my train of thought.
It's alright. Usually we'd have like maybe a glass of wine or something, but what's today? Tuesday? I had a long...
I don't even know what day it is.
I had a long Memorial Day weekend.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, it was good. It was fun. I was in Long Beach. Where were you?
Up the Dripkit?
I did.
Nice.
And that's another thing that I'm excited to do. For some reason, when summer comes around, it's just more of an opportunity for people to, I guess, be seen, right? I mean, I spend New York City in the winter. It's very, like, desolate. It's hard to just break into that new realm of people. And then I was able to spend a few months in Miami, and you instantly see when the sun comes out, like, it's just like opportunity.
People are a new beast when the sun comes out.
It's crazy, and I feel that way, like, right around this time of year. Like, I just feel like this is my zone. Like, everybody is going to be out wearing a hat. It's going to be my hat. Like, I'm designing stuff specifically for people for summer, and it's just, like, go time right now for me. I don't know if you feel that way.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's go time for me right now, like, for a whole bunch of different reasons, but, like,
Why is it go time?
It's go time because I'm dealing with, normally right now, this is when, like, dead season, like,
really
starts. For me, because I'm
You have
sweats.
sweatshirts,
like,
right?
yeah,
Right.
And that's, like, another thing that I need to, like, branch out, and I never really wanted to do anything other than sweats, but it's, like, I kind of have to.
Right.
Like, I can't keep up if I'm not going to offer variety in my product, but, yeah, that's, like, just a whole nother.
What brands do you look to, or brands or people to get inspiration from? It's super important for me.
That's a good one. That's a really good one.
Mm-hmm. There's got to be something you're like, wow, they do that. I could do that.
No, there's actually a lot of brands, but I mean, I really don't have like my number one, but I have like a few. Like Reese Cooper is like a really big one for me. I mean, Mad Happy, just the way that they started, like they literally were in college, and so that one's just like seeing what they've built is just so freaking awesome.
Yeah.
There's so many people. What about you?
So I actually, when I first started this thing up, I had a FaceTime with the people from Boys Lie.
No way.
Yeah, we did like an hour and a half, kind of like just chop up session.
Like,
just reached out.
And they said,
I told you, my DMs are different than everybody else's.
And they were like, we're down to talk.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of have a basic, honest, upfront pitch when I'm reaching out to these people. I say, this is my brand, the Dripkit, based in New York City. I really appreciate your image, and I'd love to give you some of my merchandise. If they answer, great. That's usually when they're like, oh wow, this is a straight up kid like trying to give me some merch. If they don't, on to the next. So that's what happened with Boys Lie. They gave me their story. They told me a little bit of advice on how I could maybe separate myself in the first couple of weeks, months. And like I'm still using some of that knowledge they gave me today.
Awesome.
Like the Good Girls Are Cuffed is kind of like based off of some of the conversations we had. And it was just like, be different. Like put something in your notes that you think is dope and put it on a sweatshirt, put it on a hat. And like I still have in my notes from like 2021.
Wow.
Like I have like 4 different lines, like all good girls are cuffed, like a bunch of different ones, and at the end it just says like good girls are cuffed.
Nice.
And
where it all started.
And it's like, okay, and like I still look at it. So I think it's important for people like us or anybody who's trying to start something to, go off of people that have been successful, and it's really a good little.
And I think that's another huge point. It's like you wouldn't have gotten in touch with the founders of Boys Light if you didn't put yourself out there and reach out and like just do that uncomfortable thing.
Right.
And like otherwise they wouldn't have answered, but you got something great out of it that.
No, this whole thing for me is like uncomfortable. Like it's all uncomfortable.
No, 100%.
Right?
I literally I say this every day that I'm never not doing something that I don't want to be doing, like uncomfortable wise, like something that it's like, do I like cringe worthy?
It's like
right?
It's like even like, so when you're out in like a social scene and I'm wearing my brand, like I feel better. Like I'm like, this is where I need to be. This is what I want to be wearing. This is great. But then I'll get into a situation where it's like, oh, so like, what do you do for a living? I'm like, I have a clothing company. And to some people that's cool, but to other people it's like, what is it? Like I never heard of the Dripkit. Like why would like it's a 50-year-old like woman from my home, like she wants to know what I'm up to these days, and I'm like, I have a clothing company. And then there's like
that bothers you, get like that.
It's just like they appreciate and they admire the fact that I'm trying to start something. At the end of the day, they've never heard of it. Like, so it's weird.
I guess. I feel like maybe I'm just oblivious to it, but that's never something I think
No.
should do for me, no.
You own it. You're like, I have a clothing. This is the sickest thing ever.
People usually are like, even if they don't care, they act like they care. I feel like people are like, oh my God, really? What? No way.
Mm-hmm. What about, like, ever looking to bring on some other people that could help you in some categories that you don't feel super great in?
That's something I was going to ask you before. So you want to remain like one-man show? Is that the goal?
So it's interesting. There's a lot of different, I guess, circumstances that come with one-man show. Like I understand that I can't do this all on my own, and there's people that will work for me that don't necessarily need to have a piece of the company. Like I've reached out for people for marketing advice. Like I'm in a stage right now where we're looking for different sort of investors. Like there's a lot of people that could help get this to where it needs to go, but like I'll always have 100% control, or else I'll just give it up. Like I don't want to not make the decisions. I want to finish what I started and bring this to where I think it could go. Like that doesn't mean that I won't bring people on that can help me.
Okay, that's like what I was asking.
Yeah, no, I always will, and like to be upfront about it, I want to bring somebody on that's already made it. Like I want to have like an athlete be like a co-signer for Dripkit. Like I'm in the NBA, like an NBA player, like an NFL guy who could just really put the icing on the cake for this whole thing and really bring it to the next level.
No, I love that.
Yeah. But a lot of guys don't want to do that because they're in their own mode. Like they have their own objectives. Like why do they?
And who are you to them? Why should I do?
It's tough, and that just comes with the territory of like sticking to the script. Like I think, like the script for me is already written. I'm just trying to work as hard as I can to make sure I get to the end of it. Where
so spiritual.
Yeah, I don't know if that was a bar right there. Trying to get some clicks here. I don't know how you feel about that yet.
No, I mean, I agree. I definitely agree. I do.
Like there's like so much and so many places that we could go with this conversation, but it's really just the fact of learning, right? Like I see this more as like a learning curve. The whole thing is a learning curve.
Mm-hmm.
Like what's gonna happen next? Like today, I am working and I see somebody with 350,000 followers posting and wearing in the hat, and like I don't even see that. Someone's sending it to me, and that to me is just like the most like out of left field, out of pocket thing. And I don't know. I'm sure that's happened to you, right?
Yeah. No. Definitely.
You know what I want to know? I want to know how when these TikTokers are doing the dances and they're doing everything and you're fit. Like, what is that like? How do you get it to them? Are you asking them to maybe put it on their Instagram, or is that just organic?
So I specify, anytime I'm reaching out to somebody, I specify this is a gifted product with no obligation to post. You are not required to post. And that is, I think, why I get a lot of my answers. Because before I specified that, people would always get back to me and say, are there any posting requirements? Like so-and-so charges.
And is that the direct person, or is that the management team?
It depends how big they are, but like Anessa or Bryce, I'm not talking to them directly.
You're not.
I'm talking to their management team. But that I think has been like a big like prefacing by, because all these influencers, creators, like everybody wants sponsored posts.
They
like
want something.
they're not going to guarantee a post unless it's sponsored. So
I don't like that. To me, like personally, not that I don't like it. I just think when you pay for somebody to wear your merch and they post it once and you pay them, that's kind of what I was alluding to before. Like they don't support the brand necessarily. They don't support you. They don't see your vision. They're just making a buck.
mm-hmm.
And like Silvana, who I'll always speak to, like we speak
Love.
about others.
We
like
love Solana.
yeah, like I sent her stuff the other day for the charity stuff, and it's just like she's not in it to make a buck.
Mm-hmm.
Off
That's
me,
a
at
perfect
least.
example of someone who's not in it to make a buck. Like she takes stuff from brands that she actually appreciates,
Yes.
and she does things for causes that she believes in. Like she is a very like wholesome person.
I agree, and it's not that she has every right to go and capitalize on her image and followers, and that's great. I think she's going to be even bigger one day.
Mm-hmm.
But just people like that, I really just got lucky to reach out to her, and I went to Miami to do a photo shoot with her. Like it was amazing.
Yeah, that was sick.
She really like just took the time to understand myself and the product and the vision, and like to this day, like that's someone that will be part of the brand forever, in my opinion. I hope it's true.
No,
and it was cool
100%.
that you have that relationship with her too.
Yeah, no, she's seriously like one of the sweetest, most genuine people I ever come into contact with.
How are the LA TikTokers? I feel like they're like not that cool.
I mean, I had never met any of them in person, but I need to get down to LA because like that's where like everyone is in LA for me. Like people just
I've never done LA, but like it's not like we're in like Louisiana, you know, like we're in New York.
Well, yeah, but
It's not that bad.
New York.
Oh, we got people coming in. How we doing? Oh, we're done.
All done. All right.
All right, we'll wrap it up. All right, we just got cut off here. It's all good. The hour's up. We had a great conversation. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Of course,
so glad we got to do this.
Yeah, wishing you nothing but the best.
Right back at you, to the moon.
To the moon, let's get it. All right, episode 2, we out.
Okay, that was good.
That was good.
That's what I was saying. Y'all didn't hear the nod?
No.
Yeah, I told y'all I was going to.